Alright, thanks for checking out the Zacharias P. Levish Art and Adventure channel. Here's the official camper build video. This is the mobile shelter slash rooftop camper slash trailerable camper build video part 1 and 2. Check it out. This build was not easy. It is a general idea of how you can build a camper. I'm not expecting anybody to do this exactly the way that I did, but there are some ideas you can choose from. So here is part 1 of 2. Enjoy. Trimming the 4x8 sheet down to 7 foot 2 inches. So now I've marked holes to drill at 1/16 inch. I made one at 2 inches from the edge, and then I went ahead and did 1 foot increments minus the 2 inches. I'm not worried if this is smaller than the other ones, all the way down. So now I'll go ahead and drill these pilot holes for the 3/4 inch screws. So this is actually the top. And these supports go on the inside, and your edges go here. This is the top of the camper here, and this is the inside, and the bottom underneath the top where the insulation will go. Not a big deal. At this point, you want to go ahead and mark the center so that you can measure and get the right length this way. Like I said, mine's about 7 foot 2. And it's going to have an angle here, a little bit more of a favorable wind deflector angle. The two sides are clamped together, so I only have to drill one set of holes through both. Here I have the top and the combined thickness of the 1/4 inch, and the 3/4 inch is obviously 1 inch. So I'll come over here and I'll make a line that will recess into the top where the curve is. And then I'll put my studs down so that the top of the stud hits this line. Okay, so I found out where I wanted the studs, and then I moved those holes down so the stud will rest on this line here on the other side. I have 5 studs. Now I'll go ahead and mark the 1 inch line on the inside so I know where I have to put the studs up to on the inside. Alright, there's no real easy way to do this. To cut this last stud here, this cross beam, we go ahead and set the angle of the saw to match that right there. So matching this angle here, because it's not 45 degrees. This is 45 degrees, this isn't, because there's an angle here. So if I find the center of this board, I make my angle, and then I can go ahead and draw a line all the way down to follow with the saw. Okay, I think I'm ready to test fit the top. Should fit right inside with the 2 sides. Let's trim off these nubs here. Good enough. Now with all these 1x2s trimmed, I can fit these in here. And this will sit flush. I'll go ahead and start putting this down with some screws. Secure it down so that I know it won't move I can take the top off and put it back on, and it won't be a problem lining it back up. As I'm working towards the ends, I'm using this 1x2 to fill in where the insulation will be later, so it keeps everything how it's going to be. I'll take this apart again and put the glue on, but right now I need a placeholder for the insulation. I've gone ahead and taken it all apart, and everything is glued here as you see at the frame, and the end pieces here are on there, but I've decided to put a centerpiece in like that. Okay, let's go ahead and put this in place, and I'll hold it temporarily with some clamps. Everything looks good here with the center strip. It dried overnight. Now I need to trim off these extra pieces here. I drew a line. I'll follow that with the razor knife, and then I'll belt sand the angle on that ply. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and put the insulation on here. I'm going to gobbledygook all this caulking on here, and then put the top on. I'll do both sides individually. Gotta work quick. Down. So what we're going to do is a little bit of caulking on these. And here I am adding the last two pieces that close the gap on the angles in the front and back, spreading the glue around evenly and carefully putting the screws in. It creates a lot of pressure, so I do this slowly and carefully. Using a 1/2 inch sheet of plywood cut to the size that fits inside of the top portion, I go ahead and drill holes all over, reducing the weight. This isn't necessary if you're not trying to save weight, but I'm using a small 4-cylinder car, so it ends up making the difference that I need to reduce the weight. I ripped 2 1-bys down to frame up the inside and then around the edges of the bottom portion, adding some nails in. I've trimmed out the sides all the way around with this beveled edge here, and then I went ahead and put 1x4 outside that all the way around. And there it is. It's a lot lighter with all this stuff drilled out. Still has some weight to it, but that's okay. And then on top of this will go the foam. Before you start, what needs to happen is this piece needs to be changed out to a 2x4 instead of a 1x4. It needs to be thicker. It's being pushed inwards due to the curvature at the top of the roof, and it's bowing this way. So before you start, I'm going to recommend that you do something thicker here. I'll be changing that out right now. Let's go ahead and put that bigger piece in there. That looks much better. Got that middle piece changed out. It's much more straight now. That was a lot of work up until this point. The last piece I put on was this. I'll be rounding this off for a nice foil. This will be all smoothed out. And then I'll be putting the coating on this, which will be screen door screen and enamel paint. I'll prime it first, and then I'll put these on. These are going to be some reinforcements on the roof so that if I want to additionally tie anything to the roof, I'll have some little brackets. That's it.